Hi, this is Mia. Just a second. Camera wasn't open, so I'm using the pen top to open up and close the camera cover because this computer. Oh, this is empty. This computer tears up my fingernails. I had another dropper bottle. Where'd it go? Trying to open and close that up. Oh, I want that other dropper bottle. Anyways, I'm watching is it Netflix? Yeah, Netflix film Crack, Cocaine, Corruption, and Conspiracy. Looks like I only have 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. Um, so I always hear about the crack, the epidemic, and who brought it, the government bringing it into the black communities. But they had two parts on here that really stood out. All their stuff, it's like you can kind of hear people saying about the disparities. That in LA they were arresting all of these blacks, mainly men or black men and women, I guess, women. And it was at a time they showed a newspaper article, not one white was convicted of a crack crime. And 2/3 of the users of crack were white. So seeing, what was it, over 500% or 800%? I don't remember. It was at least 500% increase between 1986 and 1996 of prison, blacks in prison. I think they said a drug charge. And then they showed a comparison of crack to packets of sugar when I believe President Bush signed in. So they showed Bush, or they showed Reagan. I don't know if maybe it was Reagan. They showed Reagan, Bush, and Clinton signing in these drug laws. One pack of sugar, amount of crack to 5 packs of sugar crack would be the same prison sentence, 5+ years, I think, as 100 times that in cocaine, which was, they're trying to say, found in the white middle class neighborhoods. Those people weren't carjacking and committing crimes and shooting up the neighborhood and stuff. So you take crack out of that. I mean, there's the money and the fights and the turf wars and all. You take money, or you take the crack out of that black neighborhood. They didn't have the jobs, the education, the housing, the resources that the white neighborhoods had and the white kids had, and going from preschool to grade school to college to getting a job with their education. Just even me, preschool to grade school and predominantly white neighborhoods, college, and then I have been unable in the past until the present to find a job. And so these people are sitting there saying that they have no life. They got holes in their clothes. They're wearing their boys are wearing their big sisters' hand-me-down pants, and their girlfriend's pregnant, and they're saying that there was a commercial about McDonald's making $3 an hour before taxes, trying to think how they're gonna support their families. And then I just thinking of those people going in and out of jail for 5 to 20 years for a gram of drugs. I just watched a part, one of the guests is talking about looking in the newspaper at the opioid recovery and treatment that's offered. I don't know when this movie's made. There's a lot of footage from the olden days and music songs reflecting the culture at the time. But yeah, you see that. Whatever's in it's not like middle class, affluent, or even poor white neighborhood, they're going to say treatment. They're going to say either work, if you get your kids taken away, or work with CPS to get your kids back. But I feel like in the black neighborhood, it's like you're automatically going to jail, your kids are going to foster care. Like you got one chance, you're out, kind of thing. And then this felony charge, how are you going to get a job? You're 12, maybe you can get that hidden or I don't know, but 18 plus especially, you're going to have that charge. Um, how are you going to pay a lawyer? I can't even afford a lawyer. I'm getting screwed over by unemployment, and I can't afford a lawyer just to protect myself from fraudulent activity on their part, not on my part. It's not like I'm trying to defend myself because I messed up and did something wrong, knowledgeable or unknowledgeable. They did something that screwed with me, and so it's hard to not be able to have the resources. And these people were talking about when they were little kids and they're stay at home trying to steal from the store to have some food or try to think that they could make a couple bucks or a couple cents carrying people's groceries home and stealing the groceries. They're so hungry. And I remember being hungry as an adult, you know, when I was homeless, being near starved to death. And I remember how hungry I was as a child when I got 3 square meals a day, plus snacks. I just remember I couldn't imagine having that. I have no food and I'm a growing child in one. Like I used to, our pastor, the old church, the pastor, he's not my, I almost want to look at his Facebook and see the racism and hatred, and it's like, no, you don't need to. It's worse. Every time you look, it's worse than it was. It's grown like this festering, demonic spirit. He would say, you guys need to get out of my church. I'm going out to eat. I gotta eat lunch. I'm starving. It's like, yeah, you got to church at, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 11:30. I don't know, 11:45, 12 o'clock. You're not starving. Like, bring a freaking granola bar, for Pete's sakes. You're gonna be busy and sweating up there. Like, get yourself a freaking Cliff Bar and a Gatorade, for Pete's sakes. Like, you're not starving. I call him on that once. I was like, you should stop saying you're starving. I've been there near starving before, and it's super painful. But it's like, heavyset guy, I think, yeah, you get freaking hungry after 5-6 hours being up on the stage singing, playing the piano, preaching, going up and down the stairs, counseling people, praying over people. Like, I know, I was up there too doing it. What did I do? I put a little snack in my purse, some raisins or something. I don't know what. What did I have in there one time? Probably like a granola bar, Cliff Bar. Someone tapped on my shoulder. Was like, my blood sugar's getting low. Do you have anything to eat in your purse? I was like, yeah, of course I do. I got 2 kids here. I'm like, I was 20-something-year-old, little 30-year-old that was like a 80s granny. I want to envision, I'm going to cry. I'm like super emotional. The full moon, I think, was it today or yesterday? I want to cry. Just all this emotion is coming through. I want to envision a cabin. I want to envision buying a piece of land at auction for $1,200 total. $1,200. And that I had the money, that I have literally can write a check for it and still pay my rent. I would imagine that someone had started a cabin or a kit cabin on their property, and they even put the foundation, septic, well, electric in. They abandoned the project for whatever reason, or they moved in with their girlfriend in Florida or whatever, and they had left the wood and all that stuff in the backwoods, and there's like an old barn and a newer pole barn, a small one, with some equipment. And we were able to find this at auction at the last minute and drive out there with the internet on, trying to say, oh my god, but like on our phones, oh my god, I'm gonna bid on this right now. I'm gonna go to the ATM. You can't really withdraw that much money from ATM, but I'm about to take my checkbook or go to the bank and get a cashier's check. You know what I'm saying? Like, and let's just say that they leave a tiny little camper on that, like a round one. Maybe like a nice one, fiberglass one. The silver ones are nice, but a fiberglass one, and it's like super clean and super spotless. used it. They used it. Him and his girlfriend used it down in Florida, but she had her own. She bought her own house. She said the man was gonna do that. Girlfriend's like, oh, I got a nice place. I found a deal on a condo. Why don't you move in with me? Sell his land. $1,200 sounds like a little amount. I gave away a house and property before. I will say that it's on 2.5 acres. Let's throw it out there. Let's say that it's off a dirt road, surrounded by something nice. I don't know, organic farm or something like an organic farm, and nothing stinky, nothing toxic. Let's say that there's some like estate land, no hunting, kind of not a park, not like a campground, but like a daytime recreation area with a place for kids to splash in the water and stuff, or people. And then it'll be like organic farm here. Then there'll be like someone's property, like a luxury house or something that's completely like wooded, like you can't really see them. Maybe they have a couple houses or conference centers or commercial or something, and you have this property, and then it's a dirt road that goes to a small highway that goes to a bigger highway, so you could still get to any direction you need to go in a decent amount of time, but still be far enough off that you don't hear all that noise and all that pollution. The water is clean, the septic is good, the percolation test, whatever that means, is good. The slope and the height of the land. I was imagining it was a little bit mountainous or hilly over here. And there's wildlife, there's trees, there's a creek. Let's say that there's a freshwater. Let's say one of the mountains. Let's say that there's a mountain behind that farm. It's not a mountain, but it's like a hilly. So it's like up, not a 0, not 100, up above 100 feet sea level at least. So it doesn't get flooded. But somehow there's like a stream. I wanted to go this way, but my mind's like, I should go this way. So the water is going this way. And the water is clean. You could splash in it, and there's fish in it. I don't know how clean it is when you splash in it, but you could literally like drink the water or purify it and drink the water, which it's similar to its water table. And the organic farm is small. Like, let's say they have some flowers and like sunflowers and some organic bird seed stuff, and then some like a little bit of like lavender, something like flowery. They would not necessarily need to use like herby, like not, they don't need to use chemicals like organic or non-organic, especially not non-organic. And let's say there's like a fairgrounds. I don't know why this happened to mind. Let's say there's a fairgrounds over here, and that fairgrounds there's jobs available, and there's people coming there. So we'll add it in as COVID. And I'm still a doctor due to a house call, so I end up, and the spot we want to be is less than 30 minutes from the place that we need to be close. Any place that we need to be close by, it's less than 30 minutes. So 25 or less minutes from the place that we need to be by car. And we'll say that sometimes a fairground, let's say they have a little office for rent. On the edge, they have like a building where businesses, there's like a parking lot, there's like a business, we'll call it a Class A. It's like a Class A business complex out in the country, or out in the rural, out in the forest, out in the farmlands. And I'm like going like this with my hand, you can't see it, but it's like they have a parking lot, they have elevators, they have handicap ADA bathrooms and parking spots, and hallways and doorways and all that. But somehow I get office building $100 a month. Then I advertise, because they don't want the fairground vacant when there's no activities going on. So they'll have like a sign maker, like a pet training facility, or we saw that movie down out in Beverly Hills, dog psychiatrist or whatever. will put me there as a naturopath. We'll have a virtual teaching tutor place where they have tutors on their computers or working through that office. A couple of non-profit people for the environment and for human rights and racism. We'll have like 6, 7 offices, like all different types of people. Somehow the dog training one, they're gonna also lease another building with a yard so they can put the dogs out there. They run their paperwork through the office. And then there'll be like, you know how places have like a community area, a couple of them like where you can do conferences, like, or like have classes, or we would make it where you could do exercising, or for some reason I want to see the outside, like maybe like a park-like setting. It's like fairgrounds. I'm almost imagining like 4-H and animals, and I saw the other one down the street with Cub Scouts or whatever going there, doing different activities. And with COVID, it's like everything is kind of like iffy, virtual or semi-virtual, or holiday celebrations, or distance contest or whatever, decorating contest, stuff like that. But I don't know why I'm envisioning this. Going back to the land, $1,200. This guy had the land for a really long time. It was practically like given to him. He just paid a little bit to make a transaction. Like given to one of his former employees. Had this land. The former employee was associated with before the conference or that luxury house was built. His former employee associated with that, and it had ended up with a parcel of land for they were gonna do something else with it. They separated out that one. And the guy was like, "Sorry, I'm not gonna really do anything with it," or maybe that guy was really wealthy and he put the well and stuff in there and put the electricity and the gas or whatever utilities, internet, fiber optics, whatever it is. And it's like we're able to live in that little camper, have it hooked up to a septic, water, utilities, internet, clean, no vermin, no vermin in the camper, and then we just take the foundations already laid, just high enough up where you have let's say we'll have half the thing as like concrete or whatever kind of foundation, the other half of it is actually a basement that they had already dug out and started building around, like sealed off, and crawl space, all that. It's like they just did the bottom part. They had the logs to do the like literally like a cabin, and then they had a lot of the materials. Let's say he left most of the materials in the shed in the new pole barn. Let's say that he had done some construction work, him and his family. Let's say we say they're Italian. I don't know why Italian, because they stick together like family. Let's say I had a bunch of guys that did some work, and they had their clients would donate the extra parts. A lot of the clients didn't want to be like, oh, we don't want to use someone else's drywall, we'll just get everything new. So anything extra they put in this pole barn or store it, and that's going to be used for a house. And he said, go ahead and take it. He just wants to see somebody with a plan. Not that we have to have a plan, with someone that he feels like would actually build the house. So we build the house to specifications, pay the money for the inspectors and all that, and then we try to keep it simple so the tax bill is not that high, because it's probably worth $120,000. Really, literally selling it like, what's that, 1% or 0.1%? I think it's less than 1%. I will say that. Let's say that there's a grandfathered law that because there's a big house here, organic farm here, park here, this house here, the 4-H or the fairgrounds, I guess fairgrounds, small fairgrounds, this Class A office in the middle of nowhere. You should put like a movie theater up the street. Put like a movie theater here and a drive-in behind it. So you could switch if there's a pandemic. Somehow there's some boat slips and they grandfathered in if you own property like down this 2-mile or whatever 5-mile stretch. you get a boat slip for no cost. That seems kind of weird. We'll say that it's got more slips than they charge other people, but if you live on that street, let's say your taxes, even if your taxes are low, it kind of, someone that wanted to have people be able to access the water, and it would be separate, I guess, from the creek that I was talking about. Namaste, guys. Dream a little dream.